Okay, you can wait. It's up to you. I mean, they're still making noise. Right?
Okay, I don't make you guys wait. Okay, let's start now. Okay, so all of us want to live long, healthy lives. We want to create precious memories with the people we love, and we want to experience all that life has to offer, right?
Yeah.
But what happens to us when we die? More specifically, what happens to our bodies when we die? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are Group G, and today we have a very special proposal for you. These are my teammates, Almas, Simon, and Rajat. And now, let's circle back to the question, what happens to our bodies when we die? Universally, what happens to all of us is that we begin to decompose. Okay? Different cultures and different religions have different ways of dealing with the dead. The most popular methods that I'm sure you guys know are burials and cremations. But do you know just how environmentally harmful these methods are? And with the space constraints and the growing consciousness of global warming, the death industry especially needs to innovate and come up with new processes of handling our mortal coils. So today, we present to you that innovative solution that's already discovered but not yet widely accepted, alkaline hydrolysis. But before we share with you more about the final spa for grandma, let me share with you why you should consider what happens to your body when you die. Almas, please.
From the moment humans appeared on the earth and experienced death, our ancestors have had to consider what to do with our remains. The earliest burials and evidences of funerary rites dates back as early as 10,600 years ago, when remains were found in Nevada, USA. The body belonged to a culture of native Paleo-Americans who still share similar burial practices with Native Americans today. Burials have come a long way since then. While cultures all over the world have buried their decades in coffins, caskets, sarcophaguses, and other body-sized containers. It was the American Civil War and World War I that really pushed the production of caskets into overdrive. With all the death and decaying following these critical moments in history, families wanted a quick and affordable way of burying their lost loved ones. What's the big deal, you might ask? Everyone wants a dignified burial. Well, following World War I, everyone wanted a dignified, almost excessive burial. This leads to today 30 million board feet of hardwoods, 180 million pounds of steel, and 5 million pounds of copper and bronze are buried annually just in the USA alone. That's excluding all the concrete and embalming fluids that all go into the earth for just one burial. Just to put those numbers into perspective, that's 3,000 acres of hardwood forest being harvested every year. That's 300,000 trees. Just looking at trees alone in the United States, where harvest Singapore, it would strip our garden stake in about 6 years. Needless to say, current burial rates and goal of sustainability don't go hand in hand. Well, that about the cremation. Like burial, many cultures have used fire to dispose their disease. In India, most bodies are cremated by the Ganges River. Text referencing to these cremation date back to 1200 BC, and by then these innovative working apparatus was exhibited in the Vietnam exposition. In 1873, and spread the influence of cremation throughout the Western world. Modern day cremations use natural gas, oil, propane and other gases to fuel the fire. Sure, many industries use natural gas, oils and propane. What's the big deal? Cremation as we know it today takes 4 hours of one body to fully cremate it. This is at temperatures ranging from 760 and 1150 Celsius. The estimated energy required to cremate and body is roughly equally to amount of fuel required to drive 7,725 kilometers. Imagine the amount of energy required to cremate cremate one body is enough to power a trip from the fast to the west, east to the west of Singapore. Besides the excess waste of power, toxic gases are also released to the environment even more so if the body has been embalmed. Some of these gases include carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxide, sulfur oxide, amongst others. The reaction in the combustion also form PCDEs and PCDS, both of which are carcinogens. Carcinogens, for those who don't know, cause cancer. Who do all these harmful emissions? Where do all these harmful emissions goes? Into the air, which then rains back down on us. Cancer rains down on us. So what is the better solution for this body disposition? Now I will invite the scientific expert.
Let me introduce explaining alkaline hydrolysis. The solution is proposed to our body disposition problem is mentioned alkaline hydrolysis. This process is known as water cremation, aqua cremation, or aquamation. The earliest patent for alkaline hydrolysis goes back to 1888 in the United States, patent office by Almas. Well, his early attempts to extract irrigation mineral from the walls of carcass to make a fertilizer. Almost also saw that were further benefit to alkaline hydrolysis. Fast forward to early 1890s, alkaline hydrolysis was implied by Dr. Gordon Kai at Albany Medical College to solve the problem of research rapid disposal. The body were relatively active and therefore had to dispose from the variety. Both examples above were animal carcass for fertilizer extraction or radioactive disposal. Why should it be used on humans? Let me first explain the process of alkaline hydrolysis. Alkaline hydrolysis is a process in which potassium hydroxide, as known as is mixed with water and heated to 150 Celsius to soak the body in a high pressure chamber. A chemical reaction happens that break down the flesh, dissolve the body to just clean wet bones. Not even in cremation can you get bones this clean and pristine. This liquid residue of fat, muscles, flesh, and our tissue, known as the circulatory effluent, is then left to set and balance its pH levels before being flushed down the drain. That's so undignified. You may be thinking, how can be just flushing grandma down the drain? Well, this is actually nothing to investigate about that. The process of implanting drains and fertilizer that boil blood down the drain and replace it with implanting fluid. At least in alkaline hydrolysis, the blood fat, muscles, and flesh on the body or are watered down before being flushed away. Let's take a quick look at the video that explains the process very explicitly. Now that you know more about alkaline hydrolysis, let's talk about the companies that have access to this technology. According to the Cremation Association of North America, only 2 companies are registered that provide the service of alkaline cremation. These 2 companies are literally Grow Memorial Gardens and Mature Jordan Funeral Home. Of course, there are more than just 2. However, the barren numbers in comparison to the thousands of funeral homes providing traditional disposal methods are green. In the death industry, new methods of body disposal have always taken a long time for families to warm up to. When fair cremation was first introduced to Europe and America, many were quick to destroy the funeral method as barbaric and disrespectful. Will be accept that it will take time for culture to accept alkaline cremation. It is also important to promote that its many financial and eco-friendly benefit. Alkaline cremation has yet to make it a way to our tiny space-constricted island of Singapore, and it's time to push for the practice to be adopted here. Rajat will now share the benefit to alkaline cremation, and then the current limitation holding back to this innovation new process in the funeral industry.
Thank you, Simon, for explaining the process of alkaline hydrolysis. As you heard during the explanation given by Simon, alkaline hydrolysis already shows great benefit just from the method alone. Now for my first segment, I will be going more in depth into these benefits. Firstly, compared to burials, alkaline hydrolysis does not require big casket. So it's the time to say goodbye to elaborate hardwood and metal embellishments. Aqua cremation only requires the body and a cell bag at the best. The absence of casket allows for more intimate wakes and viewing of deceased. Even if the family does want to have a casket, it can be recycled later instead of burying it up or burying it to go to waste. Secondly, if the body is buried after embalming, it does not sit nicely in the dirt. While embalming is done to keep the body preserved, the truth is that the body still decomposes and then they have embalmed. It just take a longer time. Remove the carcinogen. We mentioned previously embalming the fluids. During decomposition, these fluids are as well as varnishes and sealers used on the casket seep into the surrounding soil and can contaminate water sources. So let's discuss a real case scenario now on this same agenda. In 2004, Britain Environment Agency released a report called Assessing the Groundwater Pollution Potential of Cemetery Developments. In it, the agency estimated that more than half of the pollutant load in our body enters the environment during the first year, with less than 0.1% of the load remaining after 10 years. So we can say that on average, body fully decays within 10 to 12 years, all when keeping all the things constant. Once the contaminants leave the body, they make up the line for the underlying water table, and in turn, they eventually make it into our water supply, but hopefully not into us. In alkaline hydrolysis, as my friend Simon mentioned previously, all fluids and flesh are dissolved and diluted before being safely flushed away, where it can be treated by the water treatment plants. Alkaline hydrolysis also consumes much way less energy than the typical fire cremation. Compared to a fire cremation, alkaline hydrolysis only uses 1/8 amount of energy required. Not to mention, there is more than 75% reduction of the carbon footprints, which is a considerable difference. Pacemakers and some other medical devices do not need to be removed prior to the process as in the flame-based cremations. And the mercury from the dental amalgam is contained and recycled, not vaporized, and the process preserve 20% or more bone fragments than the flame cremations. which is declared by Funeral Consumer Alliance of Minnesota in 2019. If it is so good, then why it is not here yet? Currently, not even the whole of the United States, the country where the process was invented, has legalized alkaline hydrolysis. It is currently legal only in 20+ states. Perhaps with the ICK or ick factor of the process, knowing that the body dissolves and goes down the drain. But how is that different from being burnt up and going into the air? Or even worse, polluting the air and the earth? The technology already exists. It is time for funeral services providers to adopt into their process. Now I will pass it back to my friend Daniel just to conclude the presentation.
In May 2017, Mr. Heng sent a letter to the Straits Times introducing the concept of alkaline hydrolysis. It was a short letter that ended with, "It sounds clinical and heartless, but I'm sure bereaved families would not mind being given this third option, and I hope the NEA will seriously consider it." While I agree, I concur that it is incredibly clinical, it sounds very medical. Heartless, I completely disagree. Alkaline hydrolysis shows or provides many benefits. The biggest benefit will be to the grieving family, but also to society at large, because it helps us process the way we face mortality and the way we face death. Caskets are just a psychological barrier to shield us from the reality that, like how everybody poops, everybody also dies. No? So why I say the grieving family will benefit the most is because the lack of casket will provide the opportunity for the family to be closer to the loved ones in their time of need. For them to see the face of their departed one last time. For them to see the calm, peaceful rest on their loved one's face. And for them to even touch the body one last time before they know that they are truly gone. The last stage of grief is acceptance. But how can we move to acceptance if we are distancing ourselves from it with the casket and with long wigs and with all of these things? Yes, alkaline hydrolysis reduces pollution. And yes, alkaline hydrolysis also helps to minimize wastage in the process. And yes, alkaline hydrolysis also reduces carbon footprint. But let's not ignore the good that this process, that this green and innovative process in the death industry has for all of us. All of us want to live long, healthy lives, creating precious memories with our loved ones and spending time experiencing all that life has to offer. And we are still young, so why do we want to think about death, right? But let's not forget, all of us will die one day. That's the truth. And while I continue to champion for innovation and change in the death industry because it's important to me, I want to leave you all with a challenge. Challenge yourself to think about this. What happens to your body when you die? Okay, thank you very much.
Lots of gory details, huh?
And this is all our references. Yeah.
Okay.
Questions?
We are so excited talking about that.